What is it like on the ground for you? What are you hearing? What are you experiencing yourself? And what are you hearing from those that you break bread with and chew the fat with?
I mean, there's a huge concern. As you can appreciate, over the last week, we've seen interest rates go up. A stark reality has sort of baked in. Bank of England, as I was listening earlier, I've got it completely wrong, almost 3 months ago, suggesting that we're going to see inflation come down. And, you know, our sector is really suffering, hugely suffering at the moment. We're looking at about a 40% increase in operating costs. And now what we're seeing as we moved into this year is now a 15 to 20% downturn in trade, where many of the consumers out there haven't got that disposable income to come out and spend in social environments or going out. So they're being very, very selective. So as you can appreciate, the frequency of visit, the dwell time, the spend is all being impacted. And for our sector in particular, where we are squeezed between supply chain passing on those costs in terms of energy hikes, etc., we are having to absorb them. And then at the front end, we can't pass that cost on because those consumers can't suffer that cost. So what we are sat in the middle of is an environment where people see pubs quite busy, but the profit is just not there. And we're suggesting it, and many people are highlighting that almost 8 out of 10 businesses within the licensed trade are either barely breaking even or losing money. So there's huge concern for the future at the moment, and the news this week is not going to help.
Surely as well, Michael, there's plain anger out there amongst people, you know, anyone who has started and maintained a business knows how hard that is in every way. And to watch something that you've built being broken by what often feels like deliberate targeting of a sector, are your colleagues and the members of your association not just, furious enough to take up the pitchforks?
Well, I'll be really honest with you, it's getting very close at the moment. I think during the pandemic, we saw, many of the businesses like nightclubs marginalised and not supported, and there was definitely no scalable support in terms of those industries specifically. There was a huge piece of education that we had to do to really try to help the government identify and understand the categories of businesses that were out there. The hospitality sector is not just made up of pubs, restaurants, hotels, etc. You've got nightclubs, venues, activity centres, casinos. There's lots of different environments out there that have different scalable financial models. And, that was a really, really tough task for us. But without a doubt, there's anger and frustration. There's a huge loss in faith. There is a lot of conspiracy around the industry being marginalised because of alcohol, and lots of different sort of reasoning behind their coming back from people. But, I'll give you a type of example that our industry is facing. When we talk about energy costs, I had one of our members phoned me and said, look, I wanted to try this out. So he phoned up an energy supplier. He asked, would they supply a pub? They said, yes, of course. Out of many calls that he'd made when he'd been denied. And they said, right, the rate is 55 pence per kilowatt hour for electric and £2.98 for a standing charge. And he was like, right, OK, let me have a look. 10 minutes later, they phoned back and said, I'm not a pub. He didn't explain he was a pub. He said, I'm a retail environment. And in 10 minutes' time, it went down to 33 pence per kilowatt hour and £1.98 standing charge. Now, that is the type of environment that we're faced with at the moment. And it's this unscrupulous energy providers that are absolutely demonising our industry. And they're labelling it off the back of the fact that there is too much risk. So there is work that needs to be done through Ofgem to clarify the risk narrative that these energy providers are actually trying to label our businesses with,